Ready?
Just go all day. Yep.
All right, what's up, guys? This is John160 and Techno Endermage.
Yo.
Um, so this is our anime discussions, episode one, and we're just gonna talk about some stuff. We may have a special guest from time to time, named Takio. We're having medical difficulties at the moment, so he won't be here this episode unless something changes. But I just want to let you guys know if you're a third voice randomly come into the picture. you know.
Yep.
Um, so what do you want to talk about first, Techno?
Well, I guess we'd start with Full Metal Alchemist, seeing as
Oh my
how
God.
we've all seen it at least twice.
Oh man, I've seen it like three times because it's so good.
It's
What do you want to start with the original or Brotherhood? Like, what do you want
Brotherhood. I think Brotherhood is better.
to? But do you want to talk about why the first one was so bad? Well, I wouldn't say it was so bad. More, it didn't have the same feel as
It
Brotherhood.
didn't it didn't have the same feel as Brotherhood did, and I think it's mostly because that ending was not satisfying. Like everything they did up to that one point, and just have it end like that, and I was like, oh, that's just left me empty. And then I watched Brotherhood, and it's like, yes, I love this ending much better. They fight Father, and it's just beast.
Yes. Well, for me, it was more of the filler, and I had to give it some credit for them able to kind of do what they did because the reason it had so much filler was because it was running alongside the manga, and the manga got behind of the show because the
Right.
manga was coming out every 2 weeks, and the show's coming out every week, so if they had to do something, so they weren't going to cut it off air. That'd be that they lose so much money, so they ended up just doing filler, and it could have been better, but they did have somewhat of a coherent story, which I give them props. I give them props that they made somewhat of a coherent story, and that they were able to do that. I give them props
Oh yeah,
because
definitely.
that's not an easy thing to do,
It isn't.
and I definitely feel like you said, like the ending was not satisfying. The ending was lackluster. They threw it together. I mean, they had to because I think in the middle of that, they're like, well, the manga's done, so we could do Brotherhood, and they're like, oh, okay, but we have to wrap up this first one.
Yeah, so they just dropped it and was like, just put
Yeah,
something together in like a week, and we'll move on to Brotherhood.
and Brotherhood was just so much better. You had
Oh yeah.
Kimberly, you had more character development. You get to know more about Hohenheim, Father, Greed, the Homunculus, everything. It was
Yeah.
just so well done, and that's some of the best things I've seen in a while. It's still in my top 10.
Oh yeah, definitely. Same here. Like, especially when if you go into the OVA, you like learn so much more about the other characters and their
Yeah,
backstory and just what causes them to be where they are in the main story. So it's
yeah.
just really well done, really well developed.
I did enjoy like the first Conquer of Shambhala movie. I didn't like as much as I liked the Star of Milo story.
Right.
Yeah, that those also is a reflection of the Conquer of Shambhala came out right after the first one, and then Milo Stone came out after Brotherhood. You just still saw the difference even in that.
Yeah.
Gurren, we went to well, that kind of wraps up on Brotherhood. All the good things we had to say about it.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about Gurren Lagann next? My number one favorite anime of all time.
Sure, why not?
Well, okay. Gurren Lagann was just so inspiring to me because at the time I was not in a good place, and it really just made my life so much better. Like it gave me like I guess in a way a father figure
Yeah.
for what I was going through. Like Kamina was like practically my dad, even though he wasn't even real.
Yeah. No, I get that. Even if you're not in a bad place like I was, like even watching it, it's still impactful. Like just
Yeah,
way Kamina just inspires people. He's like, you should just do as you please and
you should do it.
reach for the heavens. And it's like, dude, that's something I want to do. But at the same time, you're like, oh, I don't know how to get there. But
And he showed you how to get there.
again, yeah, he shows you how to get there. It's just very well done, very well crafted character. And even when he died, like, man, that's just
It was hard. It was very. I have not talked to one person who's seen that show who didn't say I didn't feel anything when Kamina died. You feel something because
Right.
I was so mad when I was younger that when Kamina died because I didn't like Simone at all. He was such a weak character.
Oh yeah.
But it took me a while to figure out like Kamina was never the main character. He was never the main. It was always about Simone, and the fact that Kamina had to lead him, he would always end up taking the spotlight from him. And so they had to kill off Kamina, but they weren't just gonna like they're not gonna do him like Goku, make him die from a heart disease.
Yeah.
So they had to go out in a blaze of glory and that type of thing, and I had to come to terms with the fact that Kamina wasn't the main character, but Kamina could have been the main character. Kamina had all the traits to become the main character.
Oh yeah, he totally could have become the main character, but it's just how they did it. They crafted it in a way that you thought Kamina was the main character, as you said, and then they switch it on you, and Simone's the main character, and just
Well,
seeing that it's
well,
easy for you
Simon was
to
Simon was
go ahead.
always the main character. Simon was always the main character. That was
Right.
never from the start because it all the best way to know how main character for most series. Now I'm not saying all, but most is who when the first episode whoever is talking first is the main character.
Yes.
Everyone who comes after that is supporting. And Simon was the first to talk. Simon, we dug into Simon's life at first. We stopped.
Yeah.
To the wiki, and Kamina's was like 20.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that.
No. But yeah, I just like anime where myself as a viewer can place my mind to the mind of the character. Like, be like, oh, I can relate to this character because, like, at the beginning I couldn't relate to Simone at all because I was like, this kid is just bad. But then when the second season rolled around, I was like, I could feel his pain. I was like, this Kamina died. We're all upset, and we're all going through like this post state of depression. So it was just great how anime nowadays at least tries to bring the viewer into the show, and that's in my mind what makes a great anime.
And that's a great point that you make. But the thing I think I had to figure out about myself is the reason I didn't like Simone is because I was like Simone. At
Right.
that place, that time, I was Simone. I was like Simone, and I just could not handle that. So I was like, no, I want to be like Kamina. Kamina is my favorite character. Not saying that I was exactly like Simone. I was weak, except I didn't have a Kamina in my life. I just had me. I didn't have a Kamina to look up to. I didn't have a Kamina to lead me places. I didn't have a Kamina to tell me not to believe in myself, but to believe in the him that believes in me.
Yeah.
And when I finally came to terms with Kamina's death, it was like, I'm Simone. I'm exactly like Simone. And and I had to become the grips like, I have to be better than that. I have to be more than Simone. I have to be better. I have to be like Kamina. If I want to be like Kamina, I have to be like Kamina. And that's what I had to do. And that's what I did, and I got better. And and that's really the point of it is like, I think the point that Kamina's death really was trying to make was, even in like Kamina, one of Kamina's greatest lines, I think, that a real man never dies, even in death.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Kamina's legacy never died. Kamina went on.
Exactly, and that, in my mind, is what makes someone like us immortal. Because as long as your will lives on, then
Yeah, and I think that's another. And if you think about it, I think we should segue into the next. This is gonna segue into the next thing that really relates to Welcome to the NHK.
oh yeah,
And a point to where it's like he was. It was like more of a modern kind of version of Gurren Lagann, to where I forget the main character's name. I forgot a lot of the characters' names because it was a couple months ago. Our main character. Do you remember his name?
nope.
I can check that out right now. But like he was secluded. He was cut off from the world for so long, and then when you dive back into his life, you see all these people that he met, all and these people are around him, but he never saw it. He never
Yeah.
could really grasp the fact that he still had a life. His life was there. He was just leaving it behind, which is really what Simone did after Kamina's death. Simone had a life. Simone even took to the point of he threw away Logon because he just couldn't come to grips with the fact that Kamina is dead.
Yeah.
He just couldn't deal with it. He just couldn't deal with it, and just like the main character, Welcome to NHK, couldn't deal with the fact that there were so many people. He always like people were judging him. He couldn't deal with an adult life
Hmm.
to a point where he was like, I'm just gonna cut myself off from everybody else.
Yeah, even though he had all these people around him that were already still friends with him.
Yeah. Tatsuhiro.
Tatsuhiro Sato.
Yeah, Sato. Yeah, Sato. Yeah, Sato was the main character of Welcome to NHK, and Sato had to cut himself off from the world because he felt like people were judging him. He felt like he couldn't deal with life, so he cut himself off. Just like Simone cut himself off from everybody else. No one wanted to coddle him to the point because they were like, we all have to move on, but not understanding what the thing that I feel that still didn't do a good job of was like they didn't have them understand what Kamina meant to Simone. Not even Yoko knew what Kamina meant to Simone. Like she knew that they were close, but no one else really knew what Simone had been through. That's why they were like, "Oh, don't coddle him," but he needed to be because, like to everybody else, Kamina was just a leader. He was just a leader who was really good at what he did, and he always let him in the battle. They always had faith in him. But for Simone, Kamina was practically his entire life. Kamina picked him up after his parents died. Kamina basically let him do all these crazy things that he probably would have never done. And it's like, when you take something like that away from someone, like ripped from their hands, and just leave them there, that's literally you're asking for them to kill themselves.
Yeah, totally.
And like, even I think one of the times where I really was able to connect to Simon was when like he was standing in the dark room and he was just drilling out sculptures of Kamina, and I was like, he's hit rock bottom.
Yeah, because he's just completely lost it and is just can't handle it anymore.
And I think that's another reason why I liked Welcome to NHK so much, because it was like Sato was in a place where he was like that. He was in a place where he didn't want to talk to anybody, he didn't want to know anybody, and then she showed up. I find her name too now. Hikikomori, I think so. I mentioned after 3 years of shooting, wait for you for the employee display shows here. Season one spray out. My first thing it says it's such a project. It's a point day. Oh, it doesn't say her name. Okay, great, whatever. But the girl. Do you know the girl I'm talking about? Who wants to help him? She in the this. I guess I should have said this before, but there are going to be spoilers about every series we're talking about. I'm sorry if you were watching until now, but there are going to be spoilers in these talks. But like that, even though in the end she turned out to just be using him because of what her past life was like, she had to find someone who was less than her. She had to find someone who was worse off than she was.
Yeah.
But it was it ended up helping him though. It ended up being like, well, even though you were just using me, you still helped me. You were still using me. You helped me connect to my neighbor who I knew since high school. You helped me connect to my senpai, who I really kind of at one point wanted them to be together.
Right.
But when you really think about it, like, they would not have been good for each other. They were both suicidal.
Yeah, and they would have just
him more than
hurting each other.
And him more than her to the point where it was like that group suicide jump episode. I wanted him to jump because if you really think about it, all of them had these petty reasons not to go on anymore. Oh, I don't want to tell my parents I owe them money. Oh, I don't want to come to grips that I got kicked out of school. I don't want to come to grips with the fact that my husband doesn't spend time with me. No, he had a literal reason to jump because he was alone. His parents would notice if he was gone. His friends would notice if he was gone. No one cared about it. He had no reason to live, but still he didn't jump because people stopped him. He had to be stopped from jumping. Like, I know they tried to play it off in this comedy mood, but if you really think about it, he had no more reasons to go on.
Yeah, he had reached rock bottom. He was done. He just wanted to be done with it all, pretty much.
Yeah. And I still don't understand how her calling him less than trash didn't make him want to jump off. They didn't really explain that too well.
Yeah.
And it's just very symbolical of, I guess, the type of shows that are like where a character can hit rock bottom and come back up. That literally, I think, resembles my life to a point where I was going good with my bleak life and I hit rock bottom. And I
Mm.
came up after I watched Gurren Lagann, but I just went with that same pattern again. I hit rock bottom again with Welcome to the NHK, but now look at me now. After watching that, they're making bacon downstairs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but like, I'm just smelling like I smell some bacon.
Getting hungry.
um, but like, it's just why I hit rock bottom again. Like again, I hit rock bottom, and I was just like, I need something. I watched Welcome to the NHK, and I shot back up, and now look at me. I'm doing YouTube. I'm playing Pokemon. I'm, doing better in school, and it's just like I needed that push again. I needed that coming up push again in a
Yeah.
different way, but I still needed it.
Yeah, same here. Like after I watched Welcome to the NHK, I was like, "What am I doing with my life? Just sitting around doing nothing." So
Yeah.
then, as soon as school started up, I was like, "Well, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be flamboyant, and I'm going to draw attention because that's all I know how to do." So I was sitting in my humanities class, and I was all like, "They were like, why are you here?" And I'm like, "I'm here to change the world because I need to learn about older cultures in order to do that." And everyone's like, "Future president here," and I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm not about that life. There's other ways to change the world." So just shows like that just bring you right back up and you're like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and just realizing that you can't let go of that fire, I guess,
Yeah.
and just because if you do, you're just going to end up right back where you started.
Yeah.
So yeah, we weren't even supposed to talk about Welcome to the NHK, but it just happened.
Well, I guess since Takeo's not here, we had a plan for these multiple ones to talk about that we've all seen, but now we can really talk about, because if you think about, me and you have seen together more than all three of us with Takeo included have seen, so we can really talk about the multiple shows that we have seen together.
Yeah.
Um, but which show do you want to talk about next? I guess this show and act is really going to be a back and forth of us talking about whatever anime we feel like talking about that we've both seen.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Do you want to talk about Tokyo Ghoul, or at
Tokyo
least the
Ghoul.
first season?
Sure. I dislike Tokyo Ghoul. It took me at least 4 times just to get past like the first few episodes.
Mm.
I'm such a shonen. You know me. I'm such a shonen watching anime fan. It's either
Yeah.
gotta be shonen or it's gotta be psychological. And Tokyo Ghoul at first was neither. Tokyo Ghoul at first was just about a kid who was trying to come to grips with the fact that he's a ghoul now, and he
Yeah.
couldn't accept that, or he was half ghoul, and he couldn't accept that. So I was like, dude, get over yourself, okay?
Yeah.
You are a ghoul now. Who cares? You don't have any family. I don't. The only person you have is Hide. Who cares? Who
Yeah.
cares? Who cares? You have a place. Stop being a wuss and get on with your life. But then when you get into the action of it, when he changes at the end of that final episode, that's when I was like, yes. That's when I was like, awesome. That's when I was like, I finally like this show, and I like the because in the manga originally, he lost his memory afterwards.
Mm.
So after that, he lost his memory and was trying to go and was going back to his same life, which I didn't want that to happen. And I think
Right.
that's the whole reason they did Route A is because I think they're going to do Route B, but the whole reason they did Route A is because they knew that would be boring. They'd just be restarting from point one. It'd be like
Definitely.
it'd be like the endless 8 episodes of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yep.
They'd just be starting over again. But they were like, no, we're gonna have him become a beast. We're gonna have him kill. And I was having a discussion with a friend of mine at school, and he was like, dude, I think he has a plan. I'm like, dude, he has no plan right now. He has shown no thing of having a plan. No, he doesn't kill needlessly, but he kills when he has to. He does his job. He has no plan.
Right.
I,
Yeah,
I
he's
know
just
I know
wandering
he
right
had
now.
said when he was like when he puts his hand on his face he has a plan and he's hiding something, but he hasn't done that. He's shown me no sign of that. He has no plan. He's just doing what he has to do because what he thinks is right. And I think he's really letting his inner ghoul take over. He's always had this power to do these things, but he's always let his human self subconsciously suppress them because he doesn't want to hurt people. But to the point
Yeah.
where you're tortured for days and you just don't think that your friends are coming for you anymore. It's just like you're just done. You're
Mm.
done. and
Mm.
you just go off the deep end, and you
Yeah.
hit rock bottom, and you're just ready to just give up, and you're like, well, I could go back to this meek life of having white hair and being outed and people worrying about me, or I could live this life of doing whatever I want, killing, hurting the people who hurt me, and be done with it.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
And
Well, like I said earlier, this.
and we still know how much time has passed, which really bothers me.
Mm.
We don't know
Yeah.
how much time has passed because if you think about it, Hinami looks older,
Yeah.
Hide looks older, Tokaku looks older. You know, these characters look older, and it's like how much time has passed since he's been gone.
Well, I would warrant to say at least 3 years because I think I remember in like the third episode someone mentioned something about 3 years ago, so it might be 3 years.
Hmm.
Who knows? But it would make sense if it was 3 years because it seems that things have developed to a point where everyone knows who this kid is and they're like, oh, that's the kid who's the one-eyed ghoul that's running around killing people.
Yeah,
So and then now Mato's daughter shows up, and she's going to become a problem in my
she
mind.
is. I really hope he kills her. I really hope. I do not like her at all.
Yeah,
She's her dad. I liked her dad's character more, even
yeah,
though he
he's
was such a
really cool.
sadistic, crazy person.
Yeah,
He had his reasons. I legitimately thought he had his reasons. But killing that entire family was a step too far to where I was like, okay,
mm,
Tokyo, just kill this guy. Like, I still don't understand what are people's hatreds for ghouls, especially the police. Like, if a ghoul has killed or slaughtered your whole family, I can understand that. But to where some of these people are just like, oh, I hate ghouls, I want to kill ghouls, but why? Because it's my job.
right.
But why? What have they ever done to you? They can't answer
Mm,
that question like, oh, it's just my job, but you're killing people. Ghouls are people. Ghouls have lives. Ghouls have to do what they have to do to live. It's no different than how we kill animals to eat people.
well, that's the thing with the Tokyo Ghoul universe. They seem to think that because ghouls are not normal as society would have them, they are somehow like pack animals, like example wolves or what have you, just running rampant and just killing people. So they're like, oh, well, this is stupid. But at the same time, even the inspector noticed that now that the one-eyed ghoul is running around, deaths have dropped. He's like, there's some sort of control going on there because this one-eyed ghoul is like orchestrating everything. So I guess it's we were waiting to see if the city's going to go, oh, they're controlling everything and we should just leave them be, as Mattel's daughter suggested, or we should just continue trying to eliminate them and creating unnecessary wars.
And I think that and I feel that I lost my train of thought just now, but freaking dogs in the background distracted me.
Sorry, man.
Now I got my train of thought back. Um, I think that the fact that he is still leaving people alive is something that really shows that there's still part of him there.
Right.
He's not completely gone off the deep end, and I think he left. And I think one of the reasons that he left is to protect them.
Mm.
Because if you think about it, they would not stop coming after him, especially Tokaku's brother, because he hates him like
Yeah.
with a passion.
Yeah. So it was for the best of everyone if he switched sides, and I get that now.
And you know from the last episode, you've seen the third episode, right?
Yeah.
You know who the chick in the bandages is, right?
I have some sort of an idea. I think she's the book writer, right?
Yeah, it's the book, right? It's because she when she undressed, like they never showed her, but then her reaction to when Hinami said Kaneki,
Yeah.
and then her
That
saying
just gave it away.
Kaneki, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's her. And another thing is, how do they tell the difference of ghouls?
I don't know. I mean, I
And
figure that they all, at least the leader knows who all of them are, and that's about it. But
and I remember what I was gonna say. Professor Xavier, X-Men. Um,
mhm.
people, one of his famous quotes is, "People fear what they do not understand."
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why people hate ghouls so much, because like they don't understand them. They know so little about them that they only eat this much. They are this or that, and that we don't know. We can't understand them. We can't control them, so we have to kill them.
Hmm.
They domesticated wolves wolves to become dogs. That's why there aren't wolves aren't extinct. But wolves will be dead because wolves were a threat.
Yeah.
Nazis were a threat. We eradicated them. You know.
Yeah. So
And
eventually, either we're going to come to a stalemate or ghouls are going to get eliminated.
but the fact that the ghouls kept that because before ghouls were just running around, but they were doing their own thing. But now the fact that ghouls can actually work together, the fact that ghouls can work together, the fact that ghouls can have these strategical things, they have this power. They could really take over if they felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have enough yet. They don't have enough people yet. They don't have enough followers yet because there's still too many ghouls running around just eating willy-nilly. And the fact that if they had done this earlier when they were at their peak of population, they could have done this easily. But since they were all too, fed up with hunger and being oppressed, that they just wanted to, fight and take over. The fact that the doves are here now and have taken out so many and have these powers, they can't.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do that anymore because it's like they have fewer numbers. The humans outnumber us, so do the police. We don't have the firepower to do it.
Yeah. And seriously, if they think that the ghouls are that bad of a problem, I don't know why they haven't called in, like, the military or something like that. And they're just making it worse for themselves. Like, example, the new suits of armor that they created from ghouls. That is stupid. I expect better. Because literally they've created a weapon that will eventually kill them if they use it for too long.
Yeah.
It's just...
And we don't know if it's just in Japan though.
Right. That's the other thing.
We don't know if it's just in Japan or not because I don't think they want it to be a worldwide problem.
No, definitely.
I think they're containing them.
Well, if it's to be believed that the ghouls are making moves to take over the rest of the districts, it's only going to be so long.
Yeah.
Before.
But yeah, that's it's getting better. It's definitely improving. I like it so far.
Yeah.
So I think we should segue into our next thing. And this is just going to be for you because I know you love it so much. We're going to talk about Evangelion.
Yeah, boy. Evangelion.
You can go ahead and
Number
start.
2 show.
What's your number 1 show even? I don't even know.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you not to judge. Puella Madoka Magica.
Oh, here we go. You and your acid trip show. All right.
No, it's not an acid trip, number 1. Number 2.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Do you have a problem with a female lead? Is that your issue?
No, not at all.
Good. Because
are you trying to compare me to those freaks who impersonate the Gamergaters? Those people who are the trolls who are bothering both sides of Gamergate and the other side and then blaming it on Gamergate? I'm not them.
Okay, good. Because...
Dude, I love Burst Angel. Burst Angel is straight female cast.
Okay, good.
I love Haruhi Suzumiya. Straight female lead. And then Kion.
Yeah. But yeah, Evangelion. Where do I start with Evangelion? Evangelion is one of the greatest shows of all time. And that's simply because the way they crafted the show. I think that it shouldn't have ended where it did. I'm very upset that they haven't brought it back. I mean, yeah, they're doing movies, but it's a totally different universe, and it doesn't count. The rebuild of Evangelion's great, but I still want a continuation of the old show. I get that they ran out of money coming near the end because nobody was watching it. They didn't get a slot on Toonami, and it was just over. So realizing that it died because they didn't have enough money, they didn't make Toonami and all this and that because of censorship issues and the way the show was at the time. I get that. But at the same time, it deserves more. I definitely wanted to go more into the story of the Evas versus the Angels. I wanted to see if there was going to be any more character development with Shinji, but at the same time, it's like he didn't develop at all. So it's annoying, but at the same time, understandable, I guess. It's something that deserved more, but didn't get it. And just the way they built the show. It starts out, Shinji moves to Tokyo 3 because his father needs him to pilot the Eva pretty much, and is just go off the wall. Shinji's father is a jerk. Like, he doesn't care about his son at all. He just wants his son to pilot the Eva and save the world just so he can look like the good guy because, oh yeah, my son saved the world from the Angels. So, it spirals way out of control because Shinji's like, I don't want to pilot the Ava, but then Rei shows up and she's like really sick and stuff, apparently, or nonsense like
Mhm.
that. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I feel bad for her because I have no hope with girls at all, but I'm still gonna
Shi
try.
Shinji is the by far my least favorite character ever,
Oh yeah,
and that's
totally,
saying
same here.
and that's saying something because even Galeon itself has a very very well done rating from me,
Hmm.
and it's I still rank him lower than some animes like Gantz, like Deers, as far as characters go.
Yeah, he was not a strong character at all, but I think I understand why they did it. They're trying to show that a young boy's fears and insecurities about, oh, I thought I was coming here because my father wanted me, but at the same time, it's like, oh, well, my father doesn't want me. He just wants me to pilot the Ava, pretty much. And just if you really dig into the story of Evangelion, you realize how seriously messed up it is. Like each one of the
Yeah,
pilots,
have
Shinji, Asuka, and Rei have some sort of like messed up
like
issue
Ray
of
is
some sort.
literally a clone. Ray is a
Yeah,
clone
Rei
who
is a
had
clone
no
with Shinji's mother.
with no past. Shinji has a jerk of a father who is
Yeah.
probably the worst person on the planet, and Asuka has just family issues up the butt crack.
Yeah.
There's nothing functional about her family at all. Um, it
Like her
is
father
literally
left her, her
her
mother forgot who she
who
was, and
was,
just yeah.
and which is why I think I have to give Asuka some leeway, but I just don't like her. She just has
Mhm.
always she's always trying to prove so much, but it's like Asuka, you don't have to prove anything.
Right.
Really, if anyone has to prove anything here, it's Shinji. Shinji has always been trying to prove to his dad that he's worth something, which he has failed at. But because we all know that Rei means more to Shinji's dad
Definitely.
than
Just
Shinji does.
yeah. Yeah,
Like,
and
and I think Shinji really sparked that hate ish for Rei that time when he was like looking when he was in the Ava when they had to do that whole snipe that one plan and like with Rei as the shield when
yeah.
before Rei got in the Ava she was talking to Shinji's dad, and she was smiling, and he was smiling, and Shinji saw it, and like you couldn't see it on his face directly, but you could see how he felt. Therefore, he was
Right.
like, "How? Like really? You don't love your son, but you love her?"
Right. And then just it's just a beautifully crafted show because every
Yeah,
time they fought an angel there was some sort of conflict like you said the conflict between Shinji and Rei, but then Rei still defends him and he realizes, "Oh, but I think one of the greatest angel battles of all time has to be the one versus Ramiel because Ramiel is a straight up beast.
which one is Ramiel?
The diamond shaped one that fires lasers.
Oh, um, yeah,
It was
one
just
of
cool because he literally ended up boiling Shinji in the Ava, and I was like, "What? This is the most intense it's ever been."
yeah, I myself, I know you talk to me about all the crap I give Evangelion, but I give Evangelion an 8. And one of my favorite angel battles is the one in the show. I don't know if it's happened in the manga, but the one in the show where the one that it engulfed Shinji, like it took him, like it ate him, and
Yeah.
they were trying to get him out, and everyone was worried, and then it was like when he busted out, it was
Mm.
just so amazing.
Oh yeah. And
And
then my second
everybody
favorite.
was just so surprised because it was like, is that what we're piloting? Because Shinji just
Yeah.
he just like ripped the angel in half
And then
and
so,
brought it
and then
back.
his Ava started eating it, and you were like, "What?"
Yes, that is one.
Yeah.
That is by far my favorite angel battle.
Yeah. Yeah, my second favorite angel battle has to be the one that came down from space. I don't think it wasn't given enough screen time in the original show, but in the movies it was given plenty of screen time, and I loved it.
Mm,
The
mm.
remember the ball one that came down from space and unfolded? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was beast because everyone was tense. It was like we have to stop this thing before it lands, and then like Shinji, that scene with Shinji just running across the city is
I
just
know he with that pew pew.
beast. He's like flying across the ground, and they all get there. Asuka screaming at them to like help her. Ray's holding onto the Ava's core, onto the Angel's core, and Asuka's like, "I gotta stab this thing," and it's just the most intense battle
Yes,
of all time.
yes. So what's your next topic you want to talk about? Because we just went all like, even go. It's such a good show, but we have to fit as many anime we can in here.
Yeah. Let's see. I have to open my anime list and Look, you did watch another, right?
I did watch another. That
Yeah, let's
was
talk about another.
very. That was very like it was very Gantz-ish. So another,
Hmm.
it was a mind trip, and I definitely give
Oh yeah,
out
it was definitely a mind
major
trip.
major if you um for anyone watching, if you have not watched another, you can stay spoiled for any of these shows. It won't ruin it. But for another, please leave this video right now, or skip to where we're not talking about another, please, because or you can't skip, but like just leave this video right now and come back later because another is just such a good show where you can it'd just be unfair for me to spoil it for you, and I don't want
Oh
anyone to
yeah.
be spoiled by it. But another's, it had me at the point because it was like you didn't think she existed for so long. You didn't know if she was real, if
Mm.
she was a ghost, if she was a construct of his mind. Because at this point, I'd already seen things like Death Note, things like Code Geass, things, so many other things where I was like, there has to be some logical explanation for this. She cannot just be a ghost. She cannot just be. She has to be like a construct of his mind. She has to be an illusion.
Right.
She has to be something. You know, it has to be
Yeah.
something. And it's like when you finally figure out that they all make her think that she's not real,
Yeah.
it
And
makes
then
so much sense.
it and then it flips it on you and it's like, oh, she is real. She's not the cause of this so-called curse, and just everything just spirals out of control. You find out that the main character's aunt is actually the person causing the curse,
Yes.
and you're like, you
And
you
I
don't
didn't even
expect it. You don't expect it.
know. And oh my gosh, when we finally figure out that the aunt is the teacher too.
Yeah, you're like, what? That's the same person? Like, it's just confusing, blows your mind, and then
Yeah.
just the way the characters died.
The
Like,
first
the
death,
people in the
the
first death
first
was the
death
most
had me
intense.
cringe. The first death actually got me to cringe a little bit. It
Oh
actually,
yeah.
it takes a lot to make me cringe because I've seen so many. After watching Gantz, I thought I was like cringeless. You couldn't make me watch any anime that could make me cringe,
Oh
but
yeah.
watching that, it just got me to, because the way she died, because you could see she was gonna die, but you didn't know she was
Mm.
gonna fall down the stairs. But then when that umbrella went up and that point was up there, I was like, it's a wrap, it's a wrap.
Oh yeah. Like, that's the reason why I think Impalement is the worst way to die, because she just tripped down the stairs and fell face first onto her umbrella, and I was like, what in the
Yeah, dude,
world?
I don't even carry umbrellas. I'm all about, I'm all about that hoodie life.
Oh yeah, yeah, but just the the way the first character died just really set it up for the way everyone else was going to end up dying later on. Like, there was that teacher who lost his mind and just went around hacking people, and then just it just kept spiraling out of control. And then you reach the end. They're like, oh, let's go to this temple and hope. Let's pray to some gods, like if there are any gods out there, and hope that they'll take this curse away from us. But in the end, it turns out, oh, we're all going to end up dying unless we figure out who this person is, because we've already been here. And then
And then
that's when you find
that's
out
when everything dropped.
yeah, yeah, and that's when you find out that the ant is
It
actually
was like
the dead
when
person.
that
And
announcement happened, like when that announcement. Yeah, when the announcement happened, I was like, okay, it's about to be a straight out field day, worse than Hunger
mm,
Games, worse than Battle Royale. Everybody's going crazy
yeah, like
because,
everyone lost their mind. They're like, oh, I want to live, I want to live, I want this, I want that, and they're willing to kill the other classmates just so they can get away with it. And I'm like,
dude, can you please fix your audio? Dude, your audio is jacking up really bad.
sorry, man. Let's see if I can do anything about it. But go, keep talking.
Um, but it was just like it turned into a field day because it was just off the wall because it was like I don't want to die, and when they announced the person who it was, that was one thing, but afterwards it was like people were thinking like, okay, it had no, it has to be this person, no, it has to be this person, it can't be her.
Mm,
We put it on her, but it can't be her.
yeah.
It has to be these other people, so people just start hacking. People start going crazy.
Mhm.
People start killing each other. People have asthma attacks. And the and then it went off the wall.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
just
so bad. Like Hunger Games and Battle Royale. Have you ever seen Battle Royale?
no. I have to get around to it.
It's a very well done movie. Basically, it's the Japanese Hunger Games, but way better. Even with the
Oh,
less
I know
effects.
what you're talking about. I've seen like 30 minutes of it, and then I never finished it. But
It was just it's a really well done movie. and it's like that, except like it's on the moment. All of them get weapons and start slaughtering each other. And then when the
Yeah.
one girl accidentally hung herself with the thing,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my god! Like so many people are gonna have to die before this ends.
Definitely.
So many
Definitely.
people. Like I was like, I already knew it wasn't gonna be one or two people. I knew if almost, if not everyone, was going to die on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no way people were like a lot of people were surviving.
Yeah. Yeah. Battle Royale. I need to get around to it, but I did see it.
It's on Netflix. It's a very good. It's a very good
Yeah,
movie.
I've seen it on CinemaSins because they did a video about it.
Yeah,
And I
they
thought,
are. Shout out to
yeah,
CinemaSins.
if you ever want to do a collab with us,
Shout out to Honest Trailers if you want to ever do a collab with us. Shout out to Bob Samurai if you ever want to do a collab with us.
just shout outs to everybody.
Shout out to everybody, especially Bob Samurai. We love your channel, man. You're awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's see. Where do we want to go next?
I
Claymore
believe.
or Code
Oh,
Geass?
it's my turn to. It's my turn to pick.
Oh, okay.
Not Claymore Code Geass. We'll stay there for another episode. Since we already discussed Gurren Lagann, we can't discuss two super duper duper world animes in one episode. That'd just be unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Samurai Champloo?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, you need to watch that.
I need to watch a lot of things. There's always Helsing.
I guess we could get I'm looking at my anime list and seeing so many. Not to rub it in your face or anything.
No, it's fine.
Uh,
I've seen 123 anime. You've probably seen more than me.
123,
Yeah.
131.
Yeah, see?
Oh my gosh, we could talk about my second favorite anime ever,
Which is?
Air Gear, baby.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Air Gear.
Dude, Air Gear. Actually, you guys aren't gonna know who I'm talking about, but so the Jessamays, right? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was on my Nook the first because it was on. I saw it first on Netflix. The first time I ever saw it, and I was like watching some anime. I was trying to find some anime to watch, and I was watching it at their house, and I just started watching it because I was like look something to watch, and it was recommended, so I started watching it. I was gripped from the first episode, fighting, cursing. I mean, I was still a young disciple, so I was still pretty
Yeah.
pretty oblivious. So I was like fighting, cursing, all these things. So awesome. I loved it. And as it progressed, it got better. It just got so good. Like if you watch Bob Samurai made a review on it, it's one of his older videos. I don't like it as much, no offense, but he did mention of how the races turned into battle fights. But I really like that aspect. I liked how it turned into battle fights. And I urge you, if you're watching this, to read the manga to Air Gear. Because
Yes.
Did you read it?
Yeah, I've started it.
You started? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. It is so good by the end. By the end, you get to the point where they're having a tournament, where they're having Class A and Class B battles.
Nice.
A class and B class battles, air battles, balloon battles, all of these awesome things.
Oh, yeah. See,
And
I just...
And I think that the anime didn't do it justice. If you're watching this and you've seen Air Gear, please petition like we did for Durarara to make a second season of Air Gear. Please, because I want more. And I don't like, and I just personally don't like what they did with the OVAs. What they did with the VAs,
The OVAs are confusing.
they drop you in the middle because the
Yeah.
tournament I was talking about when they fight Sleeping Forest.
Mhm.
They failed the preliminary, so they're trying to get back into the tournament by fighting Sleeping Forest and proving themselves. And with the other one, for when he was fighting Ringo,
Yep.
that was about Sleeping Forest. That was about him not joining Sleeping Forest anymore, but he still didn't understand that Sleeping Forest and Genesis were mortal enemies. He still didn't understand that had to be done to send a clear message to Genesis from Sleeping Forest, like, no, you don't mess with us. We take over. You do nothing. And it really ticked Iki off, and Ringo's entire plan was to show him that they could not be together. They can't live together anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you are either joining Genesis or you were against Genesis. Either way, you're going to be against us at some point. You can't live with us anymore.
Right.
It's not you can't, because now it becomes a thing of sleeping. The four at the house. Well, no, the three at the house because Rika didn't ride anymore.
Yeah,
They
she quit.
weren't all sleeping like that. They were not the NC of Sleeping Forest.
No.
That was less than half the team of Sleeping Forest.
Hmm.
So the rest of the Sleeping Forest team, they didn't trust Iki.
Yeah,
They're
totally.
like,
Well, I can see where they're coming from because they're like, oh, this kid is like pig-headed and he's just rushing into this thinking, oh, I like air treks, I like riding around, and I have my own crew now.
well,
These guys show up and it's like, oh, here, we'll give you all the riders in the city as long as you help us achieve our goal. And he's like, cool beans.
actually it wasn't even that. It was because they knew he was so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Do you mind if I tell you? Because since it's 300 chapters, it's 300 something chapters. It gets more into where Sleeping Forest, they're not human. Neither is Simca. They're not human.
I can believe that.
They were created, and then they were the first geners, and then the second ones were called Brain Chargers. So Nu, the king of the Lightning Road,
Hmm.
he is a Brain Charger.
Ah.
So, and so is actually Agito. So Gazelle, which is I think Thorn Road, so Rika's road, original road, was
Mhm.
actually Agito's road.
Yeah.
Before so Sora had a brother. Sora has a twin brother named Nike, and Nike
Mhm.
can walk, unlike Sora. Nike and Sora, when they were younger, killed Gazelle,
Hmm.
and Gazelle was like in love with Kaito.
Right.
And so when it came back, it was as Agito, and Kato took care of them because he was always hunting Sora and
Hmm.
Nike. He was always hunting them.
Yeah.
That's what's the reference when he means when they're fighting Behemoth, and Sora's like, we always have a strange way of meeting like this, Kaito, because the last time they met like that is after they killed Gazelle,
Hmm.
and Kaito was pissed.
Yeah.
And so, and what ends up happening, Agito and Agito aren't the only ones. There are three people.
Interesting.
And there's another one, and I forget their name, but it's like it's like literally the embodiment of Gazelle to a point where it's like, that person is crazier than Akito.
Really?
Like, their hair, like, their entire body changed. Like, their hair's back, their eyes are different. That is the brain charger side of them.
Mm. Yeah, I need to finish the manga because
Yeah.
it sounds really good.
It's amazing, and it's just so good. And then actually, Iki fights Rika because Sora
Really?
actually brainwashes Rika after he kidnaps her,
Hmm.
and then Iki has to fight Rika. And really, it's an actual test. And the thing you actually find out about Sora,
Hmm.
Sora was so good, he's never actually rided with, like, he's never actually rode with ATs with the
Hmm.
batteries in.
Really?
He was using the power of the wind the entire time. He's been so good. He became the best of the best with no AT batteries. Not once he ever.
So,
So that battle they
what
had
was?
in the computer?
Yeah.
He didn't have his AT batteries in.
What? But he could have
So,
won so much easier if he did.
well, when Iki fights Rika, that was
Hmm.
Sora's final test for him.
Hmm.
Because Sora actually trains him. So remember when Iki smacked his knee against the ground to save Ringo?
Yeah.
That shattered his knee. And
Mm.
he never went to the hospital. Like, they had to forcibly admit him into a hospital, and there Sora trained him. So
Ah.
after that, so it was like fighting Rika was his final test. And when he beat Rika, Sora finally put his batteries in his ATs. It was a wrap. You will never see Iki's face more with genuinely fear than that moment.
Mm.
He had genuine fear that someone was going to kill him.
Right.
because it was just like when he put those in, Iki was immediately smacked against the wall and he couldn't move.
Yep.
And that the manga of Air Gear is just so good. The show was well done. It's not my regular type of show. It doesn't have any deeper meaning around it. It's just pure fun. It's just pure fighting.
Yep.
It is just pure. Throw your dukes up. We fight it out, and that's it.
Shonen manga.
No, it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same lessons as Gurren Lagann. No, it doesn't have the same character backstory and development in depth as Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it is it's my second favorite anime of all time because it's one of the few anime ever to make me want to have the drive to go and say, I'm going to read this manga. I'm going to go in depth, get more about this.
Yep.
I'm connected to these characters. And Kazu becomes the Flame King.
Does he?
Nike and Sora kill Spitfire. Actually, well, yeah, they kill Spitfire. And the one thing Spitfire does before he dies, he gives Kazu the Flame Regalia.
Nice.
So, actually, in essence, Iki's team is full of roads. Because Bucha gets the rock road, and Bucha, you know how he can buff himself up? Only his torso, though? Yeah. He finally learns how to buff up his legs. So he can buff out, he can put the blood to his legs by the end.
Nice.
So, Iki is actually not the king of the sky, of the air road, the sky. He's the storm road.
Nice.
So Iki is the storm road. Kazu's the flame. So Iki's storm king. Kazu's flame king. Onigiri's the smell king that really doesn't even count as weapon. And Bucha is the rock road king. They basically three of them made their own roads. And it just gets so good.
Right. Wow.
It's just very well made. And actually, there's one where they're fighting and they are hopping jets.
Really?
Yes. It's an A-class air battle, and they're hopping jets not to fall to their death.
Wow. Yeah. Air Gear gets intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the next thing you want to talk about?
Well, I figure since this is the first episode and it's the movie that started anime in the West, we should talk about Akira.
Akira. That 2 hours of my life that I am happy I gave.
Oh, yes. I spent 2 hours in the backseat of a car watching that movie.
It was just... Despite the terrible dubbing.
Yes, the dub was just...
It was trashy. It was trashy. It was trashy. I'm sorry, but it was trashy. But it was very well made. It was very well done.
Oh yes.
And it was just very, very good. I enjoyed it so much, so much.
Definitely, same here. It just reminds you of what the older anime are like and just how good they are. Like you think, old anime is going to be like bad American television like back in the day, but it's not. You go back and actually watch it, and it's like.
You go back and watch Akira. You go back and watch Bebop. You go back and watch Trigun.
Yeah, and you realize that this stuff is what started it all. This is the original. All the ideas and tropes that they're using nowadays in the West is because of those shows.
Yeah, like my dad, he's an older anime fan, so he likes Ghost in the Shell. He likes Bebop. He likes Trigun. He does not like. He calls what we watch now trash, and I see what he means. To where we don't even have half as good as what they had back in the day.
Definitely
we have groundbreaking things. We have things like Tokyo Ghoul. We have good things like Durarara. I think Durarara's been done before.
Yeah.
The way it's done, and it's just so good.
Yeah,
these shows are just so good, and especially Akira. It deserves every bit of action that it gets, the popularity, everything. Kaneda's bike, I want his bike.
Everyone wants his bike. Like, honestly, think about it. Everyone wants his bike. But yeah, the show, it's brilliant. I loved it. It was slow at first, honestly. It was a bit slow. But as you get into it and after the scientists show up and pick up
Kaneda. No.
Kaneda, the other guy, Tetsuo. When the
Tetsuo.
police show up and pick up Tetsuo, and they start experimenting on him, and they're like, "Oh, the Akira Project. Akira was this some powerful godlike child that almost destroyed everything, but we cut him up and threw him in a freezer. But now this kid's Akira is like reaching out to this kid and like messing with his mind. So when he first escapes, he almost kills Kaneda, and then it's like Kaneda's like, "What in the world's going on? I don't understand any of this. Like, all I did was like in the first few minutes of the episode, you find out what happens because the Tetsuo is riding his bike, and they're like a biker gang, I guess, and they're hunting another gang, and he crashes into one of these chosen children, and because the child is like so powerful, he has like a force field around him, so he explodes before he even hits him. So Kaneda shows up, and he's all like, "What in the world just happened?" And he's like, "I didn't hit that kid, but the kid just blew up my bike," and everyone's like confused and just you as the viewer know the whole story. Like you see all the facets and different sides of it, but from if you look at it from Kaneda's point of view, you're like
they do a very well. They do a very good job of showing the confusion of everyone who doesn't know the whole story.
yeah, because everyone else is like, "What's going on? We just want our friend back. We just want to hang out with Tetsuo. We don't understand why they took him and why he's having these headaches."
Tetsuo a really big jerk after he got that power.
Oh yeah, because when Kaneda showed up to help him, he's all like, I don't want to be under you anymore, Kaneda. I'm better than you now."
But I really think that really Kaneda helped Tetsuo through and I didn't understand it at first because I was like, dude, how could you turn on Kaneda like that? Kaneda's protected you since childhood. Kaneda has basically been a big brother to you. Like, how could you? And it took my father of all people to explain to me that yes, he has treated Tetsuo like a brother, but Tetsuo was always so right about what needed to happen that he really that Kaneda just kind of felt got the mentality subconsciously to be like, Tetsuo can't make decisions for himself, and Tetsuo hated that. Tetsuo was like, I can make decisions for myself, but Kaneda had been doing it for so long, it was like, Kaneda's like, no, I make decisions for you. You need me to make these decisions.
Right. So then, Tetsuo just goes off the wall and is like, "Oh, I have power now. Come at me, bro." Pretty much. And then the final battle.
Come at him.
Yeah, the final battle was beast. Like, Kaneda shows up on his bike. He's like, got this laser weapon. And he's like, "Let's fight." And they fight, and they literally destroy Tokyo Bay. Completely turned down to rubble. Military is showing up. SWAT is showing up. They're like, "What's going on? We need to shut him down as quickly as possible." But then Tetsuo's power grows out of control.
Very.
Yeah, and it just goes completely out of control. It starts consuming everyone nearby. Like, for example, his girlfriend, Tetsuo's girlfriend, it eats Kaneda, it eats the inspector, it eats the 3 chosen children. And the chosen children are like, "Well, we need to stop Akira from awakening within this guy." So it's just, in the end, it's just your mind is blown because you don't understand anything that's going on. Akira shows up, he's all like, "Oh, I'll help you guys escape." He helps Kaneda get out of the world that thing was destroying.
Yeah.
That Tetsuo was destroying, and Kaneda's like, "What just happened?" Tetsuo disappears, the chosen children disappear, the children save the inspector, which I thought was nice, because, the inspector wasn't a bad guy. He was just, I feel like he was misunderstood, because from his point of view, I guess I get it, because he's like, "Oh, this is not an isolated event. This could become very dangerous very quickly," and he was just trying to do what he thought was best. And when the council showed up and they were like, "Oh, we're here to shut you down," and he shot the guy, I was like, "Oh." But then I get it, because it's like, I'm here to protect the city. He's pretty much like Batman, but
Batman.
Yeah. He's all like, "I'm Batman, I'm here to save the city, you're getting in my way." And he just shot the guy and was like, "Anyone else have any problems? I'll take you on." He's honestly, as much of a jerk as he seemed, he was really, truly, deep down a good guy.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be our last show we're going to talk about to wrap it up. I say we talk about... Let's talk about Durarara, just the first season, though.
Just the first season, okay. I will keep it on the down low.
I mean, we could talk about if you really want to talk about second season, but it's only been 2 episodes. We still don't know
Yeah, so
what.
there's no point to talk about. I mean, all I can really say is what's his name is planning something.
Who? Isaiah?
Yeah, Isaiah is always planning
Oh,
something. I'm telling you, he's orchestrating
is.
something.
I'm surprised that he still has that um Sato. No, not Sato. The kid, the dude that's in love with Mika.
Hmm.
I'm surprised he still has he still has that dude's sister as an assistant. That is the most
Yeah.
hilarious thing.
But then if you realize that his sister really likes Isaiah, just think about it.
Yeah,
As messed up as it is, they're like both messed up. They're made for each other.
she was in love with her brother for a long time though. That was really
Oh yeah.
creepy.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they fixed it in the first season because I was like, that's just stop.
Seiji, that's the jerk's name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the
Dude,
first
one of
season,
my
let's talk about the
favorite
first
parts of the
season.
first season was when Seiji tried to stab when he stabbed Shizuo, and
Oh yeah.
Shizuo threw him.
Yeah, it didn't go as planned.
He was like, "Get away from her!" Shizuo
Yeah.
like turned around. And I was like, "Well, this kid's dead."
Yep. Yeah. But Durarara. Honestly, it's a story of opposing forces, the Headless Horseman, the gangs in
Darling,
the city,
Yellow Scar, Saika, Izaya.
legendary
Shizuo,
sword. Uh,
Shizuo's the one-man army.
yeah, yeah, him. And then there's Isaiah, who's just like what? How old is he? How old is he? Like 17, 18?
I can look that up right now, actually.
Yeah, look that up. I'm curious. I'm pretty sure he's pretty young.
He's actually only in his early 20s, because remember, there were the flashbacks of him and Shizuo in high school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, that guy. But yeah, it's multiple opposing forces going at each other because this one kid decided that it would be fun and just brilliantly done because it starts out with the Headless Horseman. The Headless Horseman lives in Ekenborough, however you pronounce it.
Ikebukuro.
Yeah.
Did you not watch the dub, dude? Gosh.
I didn't watch the dub. I'm sorry. I mostly watched sub. But yeah.
At the novel start,
Mhm.
he's 25, 24 at the start of the manga, and 23 in the anime.
Oh wow, he's older than I thought he was.
He had to be older than he thought he was because he was so freaking smart.
Yeah, but it starts out with the Headless Horseman,
Yeah.
and it's like a legend in the city. Like there's this black rider that everyone insists does not have a head, but they've never seen it. All they know is that this black rider rides around the city and does whatever, and no one knows who he or she is at the time. You don't know,
Yeah.
and it's just interesting. But then as time progresses, you learn that the Headless Horseman is actually a woman. She's lost her head, and she used to live
And
in Ireland and all that. She
Yeah,
lost her head,
she's
and
the Doulahan.
yeah, and she doesn't know. Doesn't have any memories of her past life, but she's living with this young scientist kid, and he's all like, "I don't care about all that. I care that you're here, and I care about the memories that we're making now." He's like, "As much as you don't have
The
it."
sweetest guy ever. Shinra
I know,
is sweet.
I know.
She's the coolest. Like, out of everyone here, Shinra literally has like the purest heart out of everyone. Because everyone else,
Oh
is
yeah.
like, they straight lie to each other
Mm,
all day, all day.
just yeah, but he's like a really sweet guy, and I'm glad they're together now in the second season. Like, it needed to happen.
It needed to happen. But
But
I think I want to take away more from the aspect of the headless rider and Izaya,
mm,
and talk more about the friendship / rivalry going on
oh
between
yeah.
Masaomi, Kaida, Ryugamine, and Henri Sunohara.
Yep.
It was just so good because from the get go you had you knew that no, Ryugamine, you knew that he led the dollars. You knew that he led the dollars, but you didn't know that Kaida was the ex-leader of the Yellow Scars. You didn't know that Henri was Saika. So when these conflicts start to come together, and you hear the thoughts of Kaida talking about, I'm not going to let out life. And you hear about these guys who like talk to him, And the way they do, you're like, well, he could be a member of the gang. He could, and you find
Mm.
out he was the leader, and you were like,
Yep.
oh my freaking god! And how
Yep.
that's gonna hash out, tell each other, and then Henri inherits all the people that got slashed by the slasher,
Yep.
slashed
Yep.
by the slasher, and then she's like, okay, now she has people on both ends. So then it's like all this, and really, I'm sorry to jump into the second season, but the way you think the opening seems, I had thought that Ryugamine and Henri were like that he was pissed at her.
Mm. Well,
Because
here's the thing.
because you know how at the beginning of the opening where he's standing, he's looking at his phone in this
Yeah. Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
mood, and he walks away and she looks up and he's not there anymore.
Yeah. Pro tip:
And
the anime openings always have secrets in them. Watch them.
yeah, and I love the new. I didn't know if I would love the new opening.
The new opening is beast.
I
I
own
love it.
I have the new opening already. It's so
You need to
good.
send me your file.
I've loved every Durarara has me with openings. I've loved every opening
Definitely.
so far. I've loved them, all of them, all of them. I own all of them because they're just all so well done. They're so good, so well composed.
But yeah, it's a great anime. Let's see what happens in the second season. I mean,
Yeah.
they've introduced a ton of new characters. Isaiah's sisters, who they're a strange duo, and we all know that they're dangerous.
They
Isaiah is
set the
dangerous.
girl's bag on fire. They
Yeah,
have to be related to that guy. Only Isaiah would do something that crazy. They have
Yeah,
to be
and-
related to him.
yeah. I imagine that they are willing to kill someone if it came down to it, because as sweet as they seem,
They are in love with Shizuo's brother.
yeah, which we see, and then it's just.
It's just yeah. You don't know the feel for you don't get the feel for these characters yet.
No, you would just literally have to wait and watch it and see as things come together. You can't watch a show like Durarara and just drop it. You can't, because as boring as it may seem in like the first few episodes or what have you, there's always going to be some sort of deeper hidden story.
Oh, dude. So according to Pocket Mal, there's gonna be multiple Durarara X2s. So right now we're watching Durarara X2 show, the first core of Durarara second season. Then there's gonna be Durarara X210, second core of the second season of Durarara, second season Durarara season, and then there's gonna be Durarara X2 Ketsu, third core of second Durarara season, currently set to air in winter 2016. So we are going to be seeing a lot of Durarara for the coming time. I genuinely hope that it doesn't drop, because right now they're doing well. I hope it doesn't drop. The
I
writers seem
hope
like
they do
know
well
what
with their story writing too, because if this turns out like some other shows that shall not be named, I'll be very upset.
well, these writers have proven that they can hold their own as far as storytelling goes.
Right.
And it's they have a very well it's very well done. I love the show. I love it. I just love. I can't get enough of this show.
Yes.
When I heard at the beginning of the square they're having a second season, I was just so amped. I was so happy.
I was on the hype train. I was like, yes.
Yes.
Just
And
brilliant show that deserves a
Yeah.
second season.
very, very. Air Gears are second season. Very much also.
Evangelion needs a second season.
Fucking. Why did I feel like that was coming?
You walked right into it too.
I did. I can't be mad. I did.
I mean, Sailor Moon's getting relaunched just because they got a spot in Toonami in the past. I mean, that's not fair.
Dragon Ball Z had a spot in the past. You remember remakes?
No, Dragon Ball Z is dead. Like, I'm not even joking. It is dead. People talk about it, but it's dead.
It is literally right now at the moment the face of anime, aside from Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece.
True.
When people say anime, people think about Dragon Ball Z.
Automatically, everyone's like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z, I've seen that. And I'm like, have you seen anything else? No. And I'm like,
Yeah, or Naruto. A lot of people say, "Oh, I've seen Naruto, I've seen Bleach," and that's
Yeah.
it. But this
The
was
big
awesome. This was an awesome first podcast.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you should read Bakuman if you're reading manga. It actually is. It's written by the same people who wrote Death Note,
Oh,
it,
nice.
but it's not dark. Actually, it's very light.
All right.
It's about two guys trying to create a manga,
Okay. Well,
and so
I've
they
been
had
living in the library the past few days, and I have 4 hours between my two classes at school, so I have time.
and actually it's got its own variations of like the big three, and like these
Yeah.
big characters like Edgy. There's a guy named Edgy who's supposed to, and he makes this really long going show about action show. So that's the representation of Bleach.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, any last words, Techno Ninja Mage?
Nope. If you should take anything from this show, go watch it right now.
Yes, and Gurren Lagann and Air Gear.
Yeah, pretty much anything we've talked about today.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. This is Johnson 160 signing off.
Techno Ender
Peace,
Mage, peace out.
peace out.